before the flowers wilted, before the vows were spoken, and long before the rain washed her perfect wedding into mud. Emily made one decision that changed everything. She erased the two people who raised her. And on the day she thought she was gaining a new family, she finally learned what it feels like to lose the only one that ever loved her. Our daughter didn't invite us to her wedding, so we made her regret her decision. Before he ever explains how his daughter cut them out of her wedding, let me tell you who she used to be. When Emily was 6, she made Linda a Mother's Day card that said, "Mommy is my superhero, and Daddy is my castle." At 10, she begged them to renew their vows just so she could be their flower girl again. At 16, she cried in Linda's arms after her first heartbreak and whispered, "I hope my husband loves me even half as much as Daddy loves you." They kept every card, every note, every voice message, every small, innocent "I love you" she ever left on their answering machine. They thought those words were forever. They were wrong. Weddings have a way of exposing truth, not the glossy truth people show online, the truth underneath, the one people avoid because it's too ugly to say out loud. Their truth arrived on a Thursday morning at 7:42 a.m. It came in the form of a forwarded picture from a cousin, a beautifully designed, gold-lettered wedding announcement. Emily's name intertwined with her fiancé's. A venue that looked like someone's yearly salary evaporated on the spot. They stared at it for a few seconds before the realization settled in. It wasn't addressed to them. They didn't get one, not a card, not a text, not even a cheap digital invite. Then the messages rolled in. "Aren't you excited?" She said only the important people got the formal invitations. "What table number are you sitting at?" Their stomachs tightened. They checked the guest list someone had posted on Facebook. Friends, co-workers, gym buddies, college acquaintances, even an old neighbor she hadn't spoken to in 12 years. Everyone was there. Everyone except the people who raised her for 26 years. Linda and Michael didn't even make the back row, the section reserved for relatives who only show up when someone dies. They stared at her photo, the dress they paid for, the smile they used to know, and felt something cold slip into their home. Not poetic grief, not slow sorrow, just wrongness. The kind of wrongness that feels like someone opened the door in the middle of winter and walked away. Michael opened the drawer where they kept her childhood drawings. Crooked pictures of them holding hands, glitter-glued "I love you mommy" notes. The kind of handmade chaos parents frame because they think it means something permanent. Back then, she said they were her favorite people in the world. Now they were strangers with the same last name. They scrolled the comments under her post, hoping for one sign she hadn't completely erased them. Someone had written, "Can't wait to meet your parents." Emily didn't correct them, didn't tag them, didn't like the comment. And then came the blow that knocked the wind out of them. A cousin sent the seating chart. Table 1, groom's parents. Table 2, groom's cousins. Table 3, bridesmaids. Table 12, old neighbors, 187 seats. Exactly 0 for them. Michael threw up in the kitchen sink. Not dramatically, not symbolically, just human shock, pure and simple. They sat together for a long time. Not in cinematic silence, but in numb disbelief. Because not being invited wasn't the true betrayal. The betrayal was how easy she made it look. Emily didn't forget them. She removed them. On purpose. The missing invitation wasn't the beginning of the story. It was the proof of everything they had ignored for years. When they saw that seating chart, something inside them hardened into clarity. Their daughter hadn't simply excluded them. She erased them. And the final question, the one they never imagined asking themselves, settled like dust in the living room. What does a parent do when their own child pretends they don't exist? People like to pretend family bonds snap in a single moment. They don't. They unravel slowly, thread by thread, until one day you're looking at someone who used to be yours and realizing you've been strangers far longer than you ever admitted. Looking back, the signs didn't appear out of nowhere. They arrived in phases, each one quieter than the last. 4 long years that stretched after Emily left for university. Years where distance grew roots. Year 1, Emily spent Christmas with her new boyfriend Adam and his family for the first time. Not because of travel issues, not because of scheduling conflicts, because she chose them. At 11:58 p.m., she sent a single text message, "Hope you had a good day." No call, no video chat, not even a photo. Just a digital breadcrumb tossed across the void. Year 2. Michael and Linda drove 6 hours for her birthday, the trunk packed with gifts, her favorite cake, and old photos they thought might make her laugh like she used to. Emily introduced them to her friends as my parents, with the same tone someone uses when they say, "my dentist." No warmth, no excitement, just obligation, dressed as acknowledgement. Year 3. Slowly, in videos and photos she shared online, Adam's mother tightened her hold on Emily without ever saying a cruel word. Margaret called her the daughter I never had. Not once, not twice. More times than Emily ever called her own mother anything meaningful. And Emily? She didn't look uncomfortable. She didn't even look conflicted. She looked at home. Year 4. Emily simply stopped coming home. No explanations, no real excuses, just distance masquerading as adulthood and independence. So when the wedding announcement never arrived, the pain wasn't surprising. It was overdue. But the moment that sealed everything, the moment they should have seen as the final warning, was the Thanksgiving dinner where both families met for the first time. Michael and Linda arrived, hoping the night would mend old wounds. Adam's parents arrived acting like they were interviewing people far beneath them. Margaret wore a tight, polished smile, the kind that hid a dozen insults beneath a teaspoon of politeness. Richard, Adam's father, shook Michael's hand with 2 limp fingers before immediately looking past him, as if searching for someone more important. Emily didn't stand with her parents. She hovered near Margaret, mirroring her tone, her posture, her dismissive half-smile. Every time Linda tried to start a conversation, Margaret redirected it with surgical precision. Every time Michael cracked a joke, Adam corrected him in a patronizing tone, like a teacher scolding a distracted student. At one point, when Linda genuinely complimented the table setting, Margaret replied, "I suppose some people just aren't used to this level of taste." Emily didn't defend her. She didn't frown. She didn't even blink. She only tugged at her napkin and gave a small, embarrassed smile, directed at Margaret, not her mother. Near the end of the evening, when Michael and Linda tried to give Emily a goodbye hug, Emily whispered, "Please don't make this awkward." As if they were the problem. As if her parents were inconveniencing the new life she was desperate to impress. That night was the silent break. The moment the last thread loosened. The moment their place in Emily's world shifted from family to background noise she barely acknowledged. And every cold moment, every polite rejection, every shrinking piece of her life led directly to the wedding invitation they never received. That Thanksgiving dinner should have been our warning, because that was the night our daughter stepped fully into a life where we no longer existed. The next meeting sealed the deal. A country club lunch arranged by Adam's family. Margaret and Richard arrived dressed like they were attending a board meeting, not a family introduction. Margaret shook Linda's hand lightly, fingertips only, and said, "Oh, I can tell you aren't used to places like this. You will eventually." The eventually hit harder than the handshake. Richard nodded once at Michael, then went back to scrolling his phone. Didn't even ask what Michael did for a living. Didn't care. Throughout the lunch, Emily stood beside Adam's parents, like she'd known them her whole life. She mirrored their tone, their posture, their dismissive head tilts. Linda could barely recognize the girl she raised. And then Margaret delivered the punchline of the century. "You'll understand when you're a mother someday. Sometimes you have to outgrow where you came from." Emily didn't flinch, didn't defend her parents, didn't even blink. That sentence didn't just bruise Linda, it rearranged her ribs. Months passed. Emily's calls got shorter, her visits disappeared. Her texts turned into two-word responses. Whenever Michael tried to ask if something was wrong, she blamed stress, work, adulthood, anything except the truth. Then came the moment that confirmed everything. Emily casually mentioned that Margaret was becoming a mother figure. She said it like she was talking about choosing a new pair of shoes. Linda heard that line in her sleep for weeks. The final blow? Social media. Emily posted picture after picture with Adam's family. Wine nights in Tuscany, vacations in Fiji, Christmas mornings, captioned, "Family is everything." Not one photo with Michael or Linda. Not a single mention that they even existed. Her entire life online looked like she had been raised by strangers in a mansion instead of two parents who sacrificed everything for her. By then, the truth wasn't subtle. Emily didn't drift. She replaced them, piece by piece, decision by decision, until her original family was just background noise in her new world. And while Michael and Linda were still trying to make sense of it all, Emily was already rewriting history. And just when we thought the replacing couldn't get any worse, the wedding invitation proved she wasn't replacing us anymore. She had erased us. The call happened on a Tuesday evening, around 6:14 p.m., while Michael and Linda were sitting in their modest two-story home in Maplewood, New Jersey, the same home Emily grew up in, the same living room where she once practiced her 8th grade graduation speech. Linda held the phone to her chest for a second before pressing call. She had rehearsed her voice to sound calm, not desperate, not panicked, just hopeful. Emily picked up on the third ring. Her voice came through sharp, echoing slightly like she was on speaker in the car. "Mom, can this be quick? We're heading to a dinner in Stamford." Stamford, Adam's parents' favorite upscale dining spot. Of course. Michael leaned forward. "Emily, sweetheart, we just wanted to check something. We didn't get our invitation yet. Did the mail mix things up?" The pause that followed wasn't confusion. It was decision. Then Emily exhaled, annoyed. "No, Dad. Nothing got lost." Linda's stomach dropped. Emily continued, voice clipped, businesslike. "We didn't send you one. It's better this way." Michael blinked hard. "Better for who?" Emily's tone sharpened instantly. "Look, the guest list is tight, and Adam's parents think it's better if you're not there. You always make things about you. I'm not going to spend my wedding managing your emotions." Linda pressed a hand to her chest. "Emily, because his parents said so?" Emily didn't hesitate. "Pretty much. Yeah." Linda's voice cracked. "Emily, we are your parents. This is your wedding. We're not asking for front row seats. We just want to witness your happiness." Emily scoffed. "And now you're guilt-tripping me. See? This is exactly why Adam doesn't want you there. Please don't show up and ruin my day, okay?" The words hit like someone slammed a door inside Michael's chest. He tried once more, voice steady but strained. So that's it? After everything? After raising you in this house? After every Christmas morning in this living room? After every emergency we handled for you? We're not welcome? Emily's reply came ice cold. I'm hanging up now. Click. No apology, no softening. Just a hard, clean end. Linda sat back on the couch in their quiet Maplewood home, the same couch where Emily watched her first Disney movie, and the sound of that click kept replaying in her head. Michael stared at the wall for several seconds, breathing like someone trying to hold themselves together with only willpower. He wasn't the kind of man who cried easily, but that conversation, it took something from him. Later that night, the confirmation arrived in the ugliest possible way. A relative sent them a screenshot of the special guests section on Emily's wedding website. Top of the list, Margaret and Richard Davenport. Groom's parents, right under them. Adam's siblings, Adam's grandparents, Adam's business mentors, even Adam's family friend from Greenwich made the list. But under bride's family, nothing. A blank space, an intentional cruel little void. And then the caption beneath the photos. Grateful for the people who shaped me into who I am today. Michael closed the laptop slowly, like slamming it might break something sacred. Linda whispered, "What did we do to deserve this?" And for the first time, Michael didn't have an answer. Her last words to us weren't, "I love you." They weren't even goodbye. They were, "Don't ruin my day." And that's when something changed inside us. Permanently. Michael woke up the morning after that call with a stillness he hadn't felt in years. Not peace, not acceptance, just a firm, controlled clarity. He sat at the dining table in their Maplewood, New Jersey home, the same table where Emily once spilled orange juice during third-grade homework and opened a notebook. Linda watched from the doorway, her eyes still swollen. "What are you doing?" she asked quietly. Michael clicked his pen, rebalancing the scales. Not revenge, not cruelty, just balance. For 26 years, they had been Emily's safety net. Rent, paid. College books, paid. Car repairs, paid. The wedding venue deposit, co-signed. A detail Emily never cared to remember. Linda sat beside him. "I'm done crying," she whispered. "I really am." Michael nodded. "You know, if someone out there is thinking, this would never happen to my daughter." He paused, letting the weight of the moment settle. They're the exact ones who need to hear this story. Because families don't break loudly. They crack in quiet rooms. Sometimes all it takes is one cruel sentence, one silent phone, one wedding invitation that never arrives. If you've lived through that kind of fracture, you already understand. And if you haven't, stories like this keep you from doubting your worth when someone you love forgets it. Linda squeezed his hand. "What's the first step?" 2 years earlier, when Emily's credit score was barely holding together, she begged her father Michael to co-sign the contract for a glamorous estate in Westchester County, a place with a lake and a marble gazebo, beautiful, expensive, and well beyond her means. "It's just paperwork, Dad. I'll handle everything," she'd promised. So Michael called the venue manager. "This is Michael Porter. I need my name removed from the contract. The remaining balance, $18,000, due immediately or the booking would be cancelled." Emily found out within the hour. Her text exploded onto the screen. "Emily, Dad, what did you do? They want $18,000 today." Michael responded with calm precision. "Emily, you said you didn't want us at the wedding. So now, nothing we do will affect your day. Not spite, just consequences." Linda had planned to give Emily and Adam a generous honeymoon contribution. But after being erased from the wedding, she booked something else. A Bahamas cruise for herself and Michael, departing the same weekend. The day before Emily's rehearsal dinner, Linda posted one photo on Facebook, her and Michael on deck, sun behind them. Caption, "Celebrating love that lasts. Grateful for the life we built together." It wasn't petty, it was peaceful. But everyone understood the deeper truth. Within an hour, the post had nearly 900 likes. Emily saw it during rehearsal dinner, her face drained. "Why are they on a cruise?" she snapped. Adam shrugged. "Who cares?" But Emily cared, because the family she replaced her parents with wasn't celebrating her the way strangers celebrated Michael and Linda. During the dinner in Greenwich, Emily's phone buzzed non-stop. Her cousins, her co-workers, her friends kept texting. "Are your parents really in the Bahamas? Why didn't you invite them? What happened?" Emily left the table 3 times. Adam rolled his eyes each time. "They're manipulating you. Ignore it." But she wasn't reacting to manipulation. She was reacting to the truth. You can't cut people out and still expect them waiting quietly in the wings. She had told them not to come, so they didn't. And now the consequences were louder than she expected. Michael didn't sleep the night the cruise photo went viral. Not from stress, from relief. For the first time in years, he felt unburdened. He sat in the living room, morning light stretching across the carpet, notebook open. His list of responsibilities for Emily stared back at him. A lifetime of support, a lifetime of being taken for granted. Linda entered in her robe. "You never came to bed." "I will," he said. Eventually, she sat beside him. "Are you planning more?" "No, we're not attacking her." A steady breath. "We're stepping out of places we were never appreciated." The phone rang. "Adam." Michael declined. It rang again. Declined. A third time. Voicemail. Adam's strained voice played through the speaker. "Emily's upset. People are asking why you're on vacation. This is making things harder. She feels abandoned." Linda's jaw tightened. Michael set the phone down. "So now, we're the problem." He didn't call back. Around noon, Lakeside Willow Estate called. "Ms. Porter has not provided the remaining balance. The booking will be void on Monday." The wedding was the next day. Michael thanked the manager and ended the call. Linda whispered, "The wedding is tomorrow." He nodded. If she wanted us gone, she could handle life without us. Upstairs, Linda opened a cedar box. Inside was the envelope, their planned wedding gift. She stared at it. Emily's final sentence, replayed, "Don't ruin my day." Linda slid the envelope back into the box, not out of anger, out of clarity. Access is a privilege, not a right. Later, cousin Megan called, breathless. You should have seen her face. People confronted her about you not being there. She snapped at Adam in front of everyone. She said, "You said they wouldn't care. You said they don't matter." Then she ran off, crying. Michael and Linda exchanged a long look. Not victory, just understanding. Adam tried calling again. More texts, more voice notes. Michael finally sent one message. "We are respecting Emily's boundaries." Manipulation died right there. At 11 p.m., Emily finally texted. "Why are you gone?" Linda typed slowly. "You uninvited us. We honored your decision." Emily didn't reply. She wasn't grieving losing her parents. She was grieving losing control. The next morning, an update from the estate. Contract terminated. The wedding was moved, scrambled together in Adam's parents' backyard during a full Connecticut downpour. Decorations wilted. Catering was late. Guests complained. The perfect fairy tale dissolved in the mud. Not because Michael and Linda sabotaged anything, but because Emily built her life on a foundation that couldn't hold. And while she stood in the rain, watching everything fall apart, the truth that would shatter her entire marriage was already on its way. Emily always assumed her parents' love was permanent, predictable, automatic, like a porch light that stays on no matter how late you come home. But after the cruise photo hit the family group chat, something shifted in a way she'd never experienced. People weren't just asking questions, they were whispering, comparing, speculating. At the rehearsal dinner in Stamford, Connecticut, her Aunt Rosa pulled her aside. "Sweetheart, why aren't your folks here? Did something happen?" Emily forced a smile so tight it hurt. "They're busy." Rosa raised a brow. "Busy on a cruise?" Emily's stomach clenched. Cousins started texting under the table. "Why didn't you invite your parents? Your mum looks gorgeous on that ship. Are they really skipping your wedding?" She slipped into the bathroom and locked the door. Her hands shook. Her chest tightened. And for the first time in years, fear hit her. Real fear. Not fear of Adam, not fear of judgment, fear of losing her parents for good. She splashed water on her face, breathing hard. When she returned to the table, Adam leaned in, whispering sharply, "Why do you look like that? Can you not make this night about you?" That was gasoline on an open nerve. She snapped, "I'm sorry, Adam, that my parents existing is ruining your perfect image." The entire room froze. Margaret paused mid-sip. Richard stared at her over his glasses. Adam grabbed her wrist under the table. "Emily, stop." She yanked her hand back. "No, you stop." For the first time since they met, Adam had no script ready. The next morning, her phone rang. Lakeside Willow Estate. Her stomach dropped as she answered. "Ms. Porter," the manager said, "your venue contract has been terminated. The remaining $18,000 was not paid." "My wedding is tomorrow," Emily cried. "I'm very sorry. Without the balance, the venue is no longer available." The call ended. Emily sank to the kitchen floor, staring at nothing. Her parents hadn't punished her. They had simply stepped back, and everything collapsed without them. Within hours, chaos erupted. The caterer couldn't relocate. The decorations weren't waterproof. Rain was forecasted for all of Fairfield County. Adam paced, furious. "Why didn't your parents tell you Thry were pulling out?" Emily fired back. "Why didn't you tell me they could? You said everything was handled." "Well, maybe if your dad wasn't sensitive. Stop blaming my parents for things you caused." Margaret jumped in. "Emily, we can host the wedding here." Emily looked out at the patchy lawn, the dated gazebo, the cheap string lights. Not her dream, but she had no choice. By noon, guests received messages. New location, same time. Long story, everything's fine. Everything was not fine. At 3:12 p.m., the sky split open. Rain hammered the backyard. Chairs sank into mud. Decor drooped. Makeup ran. Adam's uncle slipped and cursed loudly. The DJ's equipment shorted out. Emily stood under the gazebo, bouquet wilting in her hands, watching her fairy tale dissolve. Guests whispered, why didn't her parents help? Why weren't they invited? I heard she cut them off. And look. It burned through her chest like fire. This wasn't karma. This was a mirror. Later, at the makeshift reception, her phone buzzed. A photo from her cousin Megan. Her parents at a seaside restaurant in Nassau. Laughing. Relaxed. Free. Caption: You raised each other well. You deserved this peace. Emily's breath caught. They weren't punishing her. They weren't teaching her a lesson. They weren't waiting in the wings for her to come around. They had simply moved on. Everything collapsing wasn't because they attacked her. It was because she removed the people who always held her life together. Rain still clung to Emily's skin, long after the wedding ended. Guests left. The yard was a soggy disaster. Inside, Adam's family whispered judgments sharp enough to cut. "She should have handled her parents better," Margaret murmured. Richard added, "This is what happens when people forget their place." Emily stood frozen near the stairs, realizing something she had refused to see. Maybe she hadn't climbed into a better life. Maybe she'd climbed into a cage. Back at their Bridgeport apartment, she peeled off her drenched dress. She expected comfort. Adam walked past her with a glare. "Can you not leave this mess everywhere?" That tone. Her parents had warned her about that tone. Her phone buzzed, Megan again. But it wasn't another cruise photo. It was a screenshot. A woman's Instagram story. Caption: "Some men think they can play house in 2 cities. Bless his heart." Beside it, a positive pregnancy test, and below it, a man's hand. Adam's hand, the wristwatch, the tattoo, the ring. Her heart plummeted. Emily opened the woman's profile. Photos, hints, background details, Adam's shoes, Adam's jacket, Adam's handwriting on a coffee cup in one picture. Everything pointed in the same direction. Emily knocked on the bathroom door. "Adam, open the door." He cracked it. "What?" Her voice shook from rage. "Who is she?" Adam blinked too fast. "You're being dramatic." She showed him the screenshot. Adam turned pale. "Emily, it's not what you think." "Tell me what I'm thinking." He paced, then sighed. "Fine. We were seeing each other before things got official. It wasn't serious. You got her pregnant. It might not be mine." Emily felt something in her chest tear cleanly. "So, you pressured me to cut off my parents while you were building a second life?" Adam stepped closer. "Emily, calm down." Her voice dropped to a deadly whisper. "Don't ever tell me to calm down again." He snapped. "If you hadn't been so hung up on your parents, don't you dare blame them. You cost me them. You cost me everything." He rolled his eyes. "We're married now. You can't just leave." Emily stared at him, unblinking. "Watch me." She walked into the living room and opened her laptop, intending to reread her parents' last message. But instead, she stumbled on something she had ignored, something they had told her months ago, something she dismissed. A detail so important, so explosive, that it would tear open the final secret of her marriage. Emily stared at the laptop screen, the cold glow washing over her face. She hadn't opened her parents' messages in months. Not since the argument in New Haven, where she claimed Adam just needed her full loyalty. But now, with her world caving in around her, she clicked into the unread thread. At the top was a single message from her father. "No matter what happens, we love you, and we will be here when the truth shows you what we already see." The words didn't comfort her. They gutted her, because the truth wasn't creeping in anymore. It was breaking down the door. Adam stormed out of the bathroom behind her, firing off rapid messages on his phone. "Emily, do not post anything. Do not talk to your parents. Don't make this worse." She turned toward him slowly. "Make this worse?" Her voice cracked into something sharper. "You cheated. You lied. You built a fantasy and dragged me into it." Adam scoffed. "You're overreacting." She stepped forward, trembling but steady. "You got another woman pregnant." He swallowed hard. "It's not confirmed yet." "You admitted it 10 minutes ago." "That was before I realized you're about to destroy everything." And suddenly, Emily understood. He wasn't devastated because he hurt her. He was terrified because he lost control of her. It was the moment the fog finally lifted. His phone buzzed again. Adam tilted it away from her, but not fast enough. A name flashed across the screen. Sophia. The name hit her harder than she expected, maybe because it made the betrayal real, tangible, human. "I need to go," Adam muttered. "She's freaking out." Emily blinked slowly. "You're leaving on our wedding night?" He hesitated, cornered. "I need to fix this before you make it blow up." That was the truth, the ugly one he never said out loud. Emily was optional. Sophia was leverage. Control was the goal. Emily stepped aside, letting him walk out of the apartment without a word. The silence he left behind felt like a funeral. When the door slammed, Emily collapsed onto the couch. The tears didn't come in dramatic sobs. They came quietly, like something inside her had finally cracked open. But under the heartbreak, a new resolve started to rise. She grabbed her phone and dialed a number she had avoided for months. It rang once, twice, then, "Emily," Linda's voice whispered. Emily broke. "Mom, I'm so sorry." There was a soft gasp, then Michael's voice joined. "Em, are you safe?" She sobbed too hard to answer. Her father waited. No lecture, no blame, just, "Come home." 2 words that rebuilt her entire spine. The days after Emily returned to her parents' house in Hartford with nothing but a small bag and a broken heart. Adam's messages came in waves, angry, pleading, manipulative. She ignored them all. Every day after, she felt clarity sharpening inside her. Meanwhile, Adam's carefully crafted double life fell apart like wet paper. And then came the blow that destroyed him completely. 3 weeks later, Megan entered the living room, wide-eyed. "Emily, you need to see this." She handed Emily her phone. Sophia had posted a 3-minute Instagram video, red-eyed, shaking, holding receipts, screenshots, messages, photos, voice notes, everything. She exposed it all. Adam promising her a future. Adam lying that Emily was unstable. Adam juggling both women during wedding planning. Adam denying the pregnancy while demanding secrecy. Adam's threats to ruin her life if she exposed him. The comments were brutal. "This is psychotic behavior. He impregnated another woman during wedding planning? Emily deserves so much better." Her parents tried to warn her. Within hours, he was fired. His family blocked him. His friends distanced themselves. And the cruelest twist? His mess destroyed him without Emily lifting a finger. That evening, Adam showed up outside her parents' house, drenched in rain, pounding on the door. "Emily, please. I messed up. I love you. I can fix this." She stepped onto the porch, far enough to face him, protected by the light from the doorway behind her. "You didn't just mess up, Adam," she said softly. "You designed this." He froze, blinking. "My parents warned me," she continued. "They tried to save me from exactly this, and I threw them away for you." Adam reached for her hand. She stepped back. "You took advantage of my loyalty. You isolated me. You lied to me. And now you're facing the consequences you built." He dropped to his knees on the wet pavement. But Emily didn't move. Not out of cruelty, out of closure. "You need help, Adam, but I'm not your fix anymore." She walked back inside, closed the door, and didn't look back. Emily rebuilt slowly. Therapy, long talks with her parents, walks around her childhood neighborhood, mornings that didn't begin with fear, nights that didn't end in arguments. Her wedding ring went into a drawer she no longer opened. She wasn't ready for love, but she was finally ready for truth. Adam, meanwhile, Sophia filed charges. His job terminated him. His reputation collapsed. The mask fell. And without his illusions, he had nothing left. He didn't lose Emily. He lost the person he pretended to be. Sometimes the universe doesn't punish us. It protects us. Sometimes the people we lose are the blessings we were too blind to keep. And sometimes walking away isn't revenge, it's survival. It's choosing to stand with people who have lived through pain just like this and came out wiser. If this story hit you, even a little, don't drift away quietly. Like and subscribe. Staying connected to stories like this is more than a click. See you in the next video.